2018. But for more on this, journalist and author Tara Kangarloo joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much, Tara, for coming in. So we had said the fighting in Syria was coming to an end, but looking at the past couple of months, I mean, we can say, is the world turning its back?
Absolutely. If you speak to Syrian refugees, but also Syrians who are currently displaced inside Syria, that's the first thing that they would tell you. I've interviewed many Syrian refugees in the region, and they all believe and are outspoken about it, that the world has forgotten Syria. Your report mentioned earlier, in the last 10 days alone, 100 people were killed. And since the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad started this offensive in Idlib, reports are indicating that close to 800 people have been killed. A lot of them are children, and Save the Children NGO actually released a report saying that that number is as much as the entire 2018. So while people around the world think that the conflict in Syria is subsiding, in reality what's going on the ground, specifically in Idlib, is looking very grim on the humanitarian front.
We're talking about a de-escalation zone here agreed between Turkey and Russia. But then again, when we look at the picture, Turkey's home to millions of Syrian refugees already, so it can't really carry all the burden by itself, can it?
Absolutely. Countries like Turkey, Jordan, and also Lebanon are hosting millions of Syrian refugees, and a lot of them are having a hard time. Lebanon is in particular having difficulty being a host country. Itself has 5 million in population, with 2.5 million refugees, and Turkey is host to over 3 million Syrians. And right now, with what's happening in Idlib, there's a fear of many hundreds and thousands of Syrians being displaced again. And where would they go? Because of the location, Turkey is of course a possibility, but some of them would most certainly be forced to go to Aleppo, the closest sort of safe zone that they can find. But as you mentioned, Turkey and Russia agreed last year to consider Idlib as a de-escalation zone, and they all warned that an offensive and an all-out military operation would be a catastrophe. And that's what we are seeing right now. This is the last enclave for Assad to take over, and he's doing everything he can to do so, all to the detriment of civilians.
So looking at how things have turned out in Idlib, I mean, Turkey and the US are talking about establishing safe zones. Would that make a big difference?
I mean, the establishment of safe zones have been talked about and have been planned out. But if you look at what happened in the last couple of years, particularly in places like, you know, in the south, where we saw in Dara, in that region, safe zones don't work. And last year it was agreed that this region and this enclave would be considered a de-escalation zone. But we are seeing that that's not the case.
OK, well, thank you very much for coming in, Tara Kangarloo.
Thank you so much.